Hey guys, SimmersDim Gaming here, and as the title of the video suggests, we are going to be talking about Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Summer Games Fest has just happened at the time of this video, and Capcom have dropped the Resident Evil 9 trailer, so let's dive into it. Basically, we're going to break down this trailer, and I have got some screenshots from the trailer, and we're going to elaborate on them. So let's start off with the first one. Who are you going to be playing as? So, we are playing as Grace Ashcroft. Now, the name Ashcroft is a name that Outbreak fans, like myself, are going to know. She is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, who is one of the main characters in the Resident Evil Outbreak games. The reason why this is significant is it means that they are once again acknowledging that Resident Evil Outbreak 1 and 2 are canon. Alyssa also has a little bit of a cameo in a form of a file in Resident Evil 7. It's an article that's written by her. So that means that she definitely survived. That gives me hope that all of the other survivors from Resident Evil Outbreak 1 and 2 also survived. Going back to Grace, it is said that she's a technical analyst. We are going to be playing as a member of the FBI, which is kind of cool as they haven't really been prevalent at all in any of the Resident Evil games. It's been other agencies such as the BSAA. This is speculative, but I think the first location we're going to be going is mentioned in here. It's called the Wrenwood Hotel, and then it's also mentioned that it has something to do with Alyssa and her potential death. I'm not sure if this is going to be a playable section of the game. There's a screenshot here that I managed to capture that actually makes me think it's possible because of the camera angle. However, Alyssa does look back at the camera, so maybe it is literally just a flashback. That's up for debate. Let me know what you guys think of that. What's interesting is the fact it's Alyssa. Maybe she kept in touch with some of the other characters from Outbreak, such as Kevin or David King. That would be quite interesting because it opens the door for some of them coming back too as potential comrades or cameos. That would be cool, but I think I'm just harping on a pipe dream there. Now, I'm not sure if this is continued in the flashback sequence or not, but we are then introduced to the big bad, potentially, of Resident Evil 9. He then says that they are the chosen one, they are the one he's been looking for. If this is the flashback, he's potentially talking to Alyssa, or if this is in the present day, he's talking about Grace. That's the interesting thing about the trailer, it leaves it up to your imagination. Then we get to see a potential second location, or maybe that's where the hotel actually is. We get to see Raccoon City and what it looks like 20 plus years after they dropped the bombs. I'll be honest, it's really cool to see this. This also does hark back to Outbreak as well, because at the end of, I believe it's Outbreak File 1, I could be wrong, it's been a while, you get to see the aftermath of what it looks like and the giant crater from the nuke. So that's pretty interesting in itself. It can't just be a flashback or a callback to Outbreak, because they zoom in on parts of Raccoon City, more specifically the Raccoon City Police Department. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, as obviously Alyssa has some ties to Raccoon City, as she was actually one of the survivors at the original incident. So that'll be interesting to see if memories and things are left buried. One thing that's interesting will be what this big bad of Resident Evil 9's motivation is going to be. Is he going to be a fellow survivor that's looking out for revenge? Is he going to be an Umbrella remnant or anything like that? They've actually kept it under quite tight wraps, which is quite interesting. There's no organization shown apart from the FBI, so that's quite interesting. Bear in mind, this is the first trailer, so it's going to be interesting to find out more over the upcoming months, because we have until May next year to find out and speculate. Still kind of on the subject of Resident Evil 9, I made a video a little while ago explaining why I thought it would be Chris and Jill going and taking out the BSAA because of the ending of Resident Evil 8 Village. I think they actually closed that storyline with the Rose DLC because it's set quite a lot after, and I think Chris was probably successful with his mission, as he has mentioned, so that storyline is probably closed. Unfortunately, we probably will never get to see that. But on the subject of the BSAA, I also think that reinforces the point that the BSAA are gone and Chris was successful, because the BSAA were the ones that would hold these kind of cases, whereas obviously it's now looking like it's up to the FBI. So maybe because they're gone, the FBI have now got a bioterrorism unit or something like that. So that's quite interesting. So that kind of reinforces the point that I think that plotline and storyline is closed, which is a shame, but this also, to be honest, does look quite promising. Moving on to this screenshot here, I believe it's still the same character, it's still the big bad of Resident Evil 9. However, they're keeping his face covered and not shown for a reason, so it must be a familiar face or someone that we might know. People are already speculating it's potentially Wesker, but it doesn't sound like him at all. But who knows? We literally have no information at the time. I wonder if we're actually going to find out before, or it's going to be left to you as the player when you're playing the game. Let me know who you think it is. Interestingly, I'm going to put a wild card out there and say it's Kevin Ryman, just because I know it's not going to be Kevin Ryman, but it would be hilarious if it was. But it wouldn't be entirely out of the realm of possibility, as potentially, if that's Alyssa you're playing as, or it's a flashback when you see that character, it could be an Outbreak character, because they'll have a direct link to Alyssa. Who knows? That again is just a wild card theory, but they're keeping his face covered for a reason. So let's see who that's going to be. Obviously this is the first trailer we've got, so they're going to not show everything. It's not like modern movie trailers where you see the entire of the movie in one go. There's a lot we don't know. We don't know who the big bad is, we don't know if there's going to be any other playable characters, we don't know if the flashbacks are playable or non-playable either, so there is potential we could get other characters. Because it's Raccoon City, and it has Raccoon City by the looks of things at the core of its storyline, there is potential that Leon could come back, because also Leon has a really strong connection to Raccoon City. It would kind of make more sense. Obviously in the footage in the background, Grace is captured, so maybe Leon then has to come in and help rescue her. That could be interesting, and it could be a big segue, because if you think about it, Grace also has inadvertently a connection to Raccoon City through her mother. That would be a really cool plot point. Let me know what you guys think about that. That's basically all we have at the moment for the Resident Evil 9 Requiem trailer. Personally, it took me a few times of watching it to pick up on things, because initially I wasn't too sure, but to be honest, I'm actually quite excited doing a bit more digging into it. And let's be honest, Capcom and the Resident Evil series 7 and 8 both were amazing. Obviously people didn't like 6. I liked what they tried to do with 6, and I liked the fact that we had all of our fan favourite characters back, but I also see why that game is a point of contention for fans. But yeah, let's wait and see what they bring out next. It would be cool if it's 2 playable characters, but who knows. The last 2 have both been 1 playable character. You do get to play as Chris in Village, but technically it's not really for a main character part, it's a bit more of a sub character. That's it for the video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always put your thoughts and predictions as well. I like getting a good conversation about Resident Evil going. But this is Dim Gaming, and I'll see you in the next one.